breaking down the political landscape. This is KQ Truth for you. Political honesty rooted in God. This is KQ Truth for you.
Good evening. Welcome to KQ. I'm Ken.
I'm Kevlon.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. This is KQ the Truth for you.
Good evening. Welcome to KQ. I'm Ken.
I'm Kevlon. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody out there in internet land is doing well today. We are coming to you on the cusp of an election, y'all. We only have a few more days left. So we thought we would come in and give you one more episode of our analysis of what is going on in political land as we approach this crazy, crazy time.
Yeah, buddy. And when we say crazy, we do mean crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we actually have the leader of the whole Republican Party. I like to call them the MAGA Republican Party now because, you know, it's kind of like two factions. They're a little split.
The MAGA Republicans.
Yes, sir.
MAGA Republicans.
Yes, that's them. And this guy wants to come into office and sick the military on left-wingers, man. That's kind of deep.
Yeah, he wants to do that and a whole lot more.
Yeah, baby.
And so we're going to start off. I'm going to pull up the that picture there, that Overton. We want to go over a concept with you guys just to give you a brief analysis of where this is all coming from. There's a concept called the Overton window. So picture, now we get it. Things change over time. But just picture things, there being a range of, let's say, what is considered to be acceptable. On the outskirts of sensible, popular, policy, popular, and sensible, you have things that are barely acceptable, things that tend to go towards radical, and then there's things that are unthinkable. What happens is after someone comes on the scene that is totally unthinkable, after they become acceptable, that has caused a shift in the Overton window. So now you're not operating in what you would have considered to be acceptable. Now you're operating within unthinkable means, and that brings about a chaotic society when roughly half of the population is willing to accept what just a few years ago was considered to be unacceptable. Let me give you just one example. Picture during Barack Obama's campaign. A video comes out where he's on a bus with a reporter talking about some woman saying how if you're rich, they let you do anything. Grab them by the whoop.
Yep.
How many of you out here think Obama would have been elected if that happened?
I would say 0%. 0%. Yeah, he wouldn't have been elected. He wouldn't have got it.
Well, I'm going to throw out another one. What if Barack Obama paid $25 million for a fraudulent university that he had that swindled plenty of people out of their money, including veterans, people with elderly parents, people struggling. They thought they were going to be paying their way into some skill set in real estate by paying Donald Trump. But he ended up having to pay $25 million right before he got inaugurated. What if Barack Obama had paid that? Yeah. Would that have been considered to be unacceptable, unthinkable? That's two examples before Trump even took office that shows you that we have shifted this Overton window. So we need to understand that this is the area that we're operating in.
Yep. Imagine if Joe Biden, I want to do one. Imagine if Joe Biden had a doggone bowling alley franchise, or had several of them all over town. And so every time he goes on vacation while he's in office, he brings the whole Secret Service team to the bowling alley and raises up all the prices on everything
per alley,
and brings them in, charges freaking $5 million a pop every time they pull up. And he's there like 1 year out of the entire time that he's in his 3 years in office, including one with the pandemic.
Yes.
You think he would have been back on deck to be reelected, man?
Well, Jimmy Carter, remember, he couldn't even come into office with a peanut farm. He had to put his peanut, he had to sell his peanut farm and get rid of it, take his name completely off of his peanut farm because the Republicans were having a royal fit saying that him just owning a business was going to be too much and it was compromising to the security of the United States. But Trump comes in with just businesses all over the place. Trump comes in while he had just signed a deal for Trump Tower, Russia, as that Access Hollywood tape where he was talking about grabbing women's nether regions came out. That was like the day he signed the deal.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, buddy.
So now, at the same time, where the standard for what's acceptable on the Republican side continues to disappear, on the Democratic side, the standard continues to rise. That's the odd part. This is the standard Overton window. You have to put a layer on top of this model to show that the Democrats are actually that box of what's acceptable is shrinking. It's getting smaller and smaller, and you have to get closer and closer to perfect. I think it was coined this week. They said that Van Jones, I think he was the one that coined it. He said that the standard for Kamala Harris is flawless, while Trump can be lawless. And that is where we are today.
Absolutely.
So we're going to jump into some videos and kind of crystallize this whole thing of the double standard that we're working with today.
Yeah, I want y'all to listen closely to this first answer, man. It kills me.
Joe Biden said he doesn't think it's going to be a peaceful election day.
Well, he doesn't have any idea what's happening in all fairness. He spends most of his day sleeping.
Did y'all get that? Did y'all get that? Hold on, one more time. Just for
kicks and giggles.
Just for kicks and giggles. Bang it back. Just a little bit more.
Election day.
Well, he doesn't have any idea what's happening in all fairness. He spends most of his day sleeping. I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. By the way, totally destroying our country. The towns, the villages, they're being inundated. But I don't think they're the problem in terms of election day. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military, because they can't let that happen.
Oh, my goodness. So that man just clearly said, I'm not talking about those people that are coming in and they're destroying our country. Yeah, they're totally destroying our country. I'm not talking about those people, the immigrants. I'm talking about the enemy from within. So when he says that, he is literally saying he wants the military to attack U.S. citizens. He's not saying, that was the right wing kickback on that. They came out to defend Trump, and they were all saying he wasn't talking about. He was literally talking about the immigrants. He wasn't talking about, but the man just said, I'm not talking about the immigrants that come over here. Come on now. So,
and as a matter of fact, this next clip will crystallize even more so specifically who he was talking about, because a lot of people heard this and they said, well, he's not saying using the military against American citizens. Well, in this next clip, I beg to differ, because he's going to literally name them for you.
Yeah, this is called the double down.
Well, I always say, so we have two enemies. We have the outside enemy, and then we have the enemy from within. And the enemy from within, in my opinion, is more dangerous than China, Russia, and all these countries. But the thing that's tougher to handle are these lunatics that we have inside, like Adam Shifty Schiff. Think of this guy's going to be a senator. It is the enemy from within, and they're very dangerous. They're Marxists and communists and fascists, and they're sick. I use a guy like Adam Schiff because they made up the Russia hoax. Adam Shifty Schiff, he's a crooked guy. He's a crooked politician, 100%. He's going to be a senator now. Can you believe it?
But again, he's a political opponent of yours.
He's not.
So, as you heard, in this, now I understand these are clips. The idea is he's saying the same term, enemy from within, and then he's going on to say, here's an example of an enemy from within, Adam Shifty Schiff. So Adam Schiff is strictly a political opponent of his. He works in the Senate, in the House rather, and he worked on the impeachment, and he uses political means to go about his tactics. Trump is saying, I'm going to take this out of the political realm, and now we get to use the military. In the other clip, he said he wants to use the National Guard and the military to take care of these radical left lunatics. So there's this removes ambiguity and takes away the wiggle room. These are Trump's words, not ours. If you do not want to be misconstrued as going against the idea of posse comitatus, which means you can't use the military on civilians, then you should keep the military out of the discussion when you're talking about dealing with your political opponents, much of the way that Democrats do, for instance.
Right.
No,
enemy.
No, of course, he's an enemy. He's an enemy. We have a bigger problem with it, and they hate it. I noticed today they were saying he said the enemy from within. Of course, it's Adam Schiff. These are bad people. These are sick people and bad people.
Well, we do know that Congressman Schiff is definitely living rent-free in Trump's head, but that language is also alarming.
Alarming guitar.
Sound the alarm. Trouble alert. Trouble alert.
And so people either say, well, he didn't say what we just heard him say, or they'll say, well, he's not going to actually do it. Or they say, well, that's just Trump being Trump and this and that. Excusing this stuff away, it causes problems. Things happen afterwards, such as you get the federal government, the capital of the federal government of the United States placed under attack. That's how you end up there, by excusing away, turning your head away from someone who is unreasonable, someone who says things like he's rich, so he gets to do it, and all of that. When you turn away, you end up sitting there looking at your capital getting attacked. People wonder how you get to a bad place. It's because we ignore the obviousness of the horrific nature of the individuals that we choose to give jobs to, that work for us.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And the Project 2025 link to this is they're gonna do it all. I mean, it's all in the book, because he's gonna fire everybody that would have stepped in the way or would have been a guardrail. He's gonna get rid of any guardrail, and he's gonna hire people that may not even know what they're doing whatsoever in that job, just as long as they met the number one qualification, which is total loyalty to said Führer. So so that's how they're gonna do it. And then Lord forbid if he gets to pick two more Supreme Court justices, oh my goodness, boy, yeah, we'll be in for a world of hurt.
Now, of course, these are our opinions of what could happen. We actually could end up in a situation where Trump does put the military after U.S. citizens. He actually suggested doing it in the last administration. There are several generals that work for him high in his administration, the former chief of staff, the former the highest military rank in the country. What is it? The Joint Chiefs of Staff?
Yeah,
Joint Chiefs.
Commander-in-Chief, yeah.
Joint Chiefs. So these are career military officials that 100% of the time have avoided politics and have avoided weighing in about political candidates and things like that until now. Now they're all coming out. Bob Woodward interviewed
Mark Milley.
The last one, I sent you a clip of that, but yeah, actually, I want you to hear the audio of that, because this is a situation where he is a guy who worked with Trump as his chief of staff, his longest serving chief of staff. He heard these words that we just played for you that Trump uttered. And his conclusion is that Trump is a fascist and a danger to the United States, and the most dangerous person that there is to the United States. So all the while Trump is sitting here calling people lawless, well, he's the felon, and he's the one with multiple indictments and facing, sentencing coming up. But I want you to hear this clip of John Kelly explaining, and really we should have queued this up a little bit, but he's going to give you a little bit of his explanation of how horrible the outcome could be if we choose to put Trump in there again.
The former president is in the far right area. He's certainly an authoritarian. Admires people who are dictators. He has said that. So he certainly falls into the general definition of fascist, for sure.
He didn't say possibly. He said for sure.
For certainty.
So I want us to be clear. We throw around the word, Trump at least throws around the words Marxist, communist, socialist, and throws it at Democrats, including Kamala Harris, even though those are competing ideologies. But we want to zero in on what we think is a good definition of fascism. It's one that General Kelly, the guy you just heard speaking, the former former chief of staff of Donald Trump, said, somebody who sat next to him in the Oval Office and worked hand in hand with him and saw him every day, a former Gold Star parent, a Gold Star parent, not former, but this is his definition, and I think it's pretty doggone poignant. And he is a general.
Yeah, it's a far-right authoritarian, ultra-nationalist political ideology and movement characterized by a dictatorial leader, centralized autocracy, militarism, forcible suppression of opinion.
Of opposition.
Of opposition, I'm sorry. Belief in a natural social hierarchy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a lot in that. And that's something that you don't want. And what I'm telling you is someone who is not been a political figure, someone who is a general, they have a standard of not weighing into politics for the most part. There are outliers, but he's not the only one. And he's saying that he believes that Trump is a fascist. And so, you know, if we go again and accept the unacceptable once again, and this is what we're looking at, and we're doomed. And not to miss out on one thing, the Supreme Court has already weighed in and said that the president is going to be immune going forward from criminal activity as long as it's something that can be squeezed into the realm of a official duty.
Yeah, something you was doing while you was at work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was at work. He was in the Oval Office when he was talking to one of his employees. So that should just be off the books.
Yeah, and Kelly wasn't the only one. I'm just going to name a few people who also are generals that work for Trump and high-ranking officials that work for Trump. Before we get to that list, we have Esper Milley, General Milley, who Trump talked about putting him up for treason, which the penalty for treason is death. Trump talked about putting him up for treason.
Yeah.
Rex Tillerson, Olivia Troy, Bill Barr, Mike Pence, all of these people gave accounts of Donald Trump as being unhinged, off the chain, and darn near approaching fascism and anti-constitutional behavior.
Yes.
Now,
these were people that were all in his administration that were working with him.
For him,
with him.
Doing his bidding.
Doing his bidding 90% of the time. But then when it came to just completely overthrowing democracy, they said, no, we can't do that.
Right. And some of them got shunned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine, Sean, if a general came out and started criticizing Joe Biden and people started trashing that general, what would Sean Hannity say about the people?
Right.
But now Sean Hannity is bashing the general.
Right. Oh my goodness. Yeah, man. Democracy is important, man. It's very important that we save that first. I mean, I don't have to worry about getting armed to the teeth to protect myself from the oncoming military if we just don't let craziness into the White House to begin with. Somebody that's willing to do that. We don't even need that in the White House.
There should be standards, there should be boundaries, and there should be guardrails. And Trump, this time coming around, Project 2025 dictates that they're going to fill up the government with a bunch of people who are loyalists to Trump first. They're not going to be loyalists to the Constitution. They're not going to be loyalists to the rule of law. They're going to bend the rule of law in Trump's direction every chance they get in order to get what Trump wants to have done. And it's more power, more money in the hands of the elite, and more trouble for you and me.
Yes, Bob.
So just a quick rundown as well. Like I mentioned, overlooking the obvious clues that authoritarianism is on the way will lead us to insurrection. So we're going to go and show you a quick list of the people who were involved with the insurrection on January 6th. And I want you to notice one common theme about them. They are all, just like Kelly, former administration officials and all Republicans.
Yeah.
So just wind her down there, you know.
Yeah, let's see here. We got Mike Pence, Mark Meadows, Mark Short, Greg Jacob. That's an interesting one. Dan Scavino. I remember him.
Wasn't he a lawyer?
Yeah. Pat Cipollone. Patrick, who is that one? Patrick
Philbin. Yeah.
Philbin, yeah, that guy.
Deputy.
Oh, Stephen Miller.
Stephen Miller.
Yeah.
He put out the stand down order.
Yep. Ken Cuccinelli.
Cooch the Gooch.
Yes, sir. John Ratcliffe. Remember old Mr. Ratcliffe?
Director of National Intelligence.
Yep. Oh, Newt Gingrich. I remember good old Newt.
Frankly.
Yeah. Nick Luna.
Luna as in Tick.
Yeah. John McEntee. John McEntee. Bo Harrison.
William Russell. All of these Republicans.
Michael McDonald.
Hey, Mike.
Hot dang.
That's an inside joke.
Yeah, no doubt. Michael Brown, I don't know who that is. Jim, what?
The Grafenfeld. The Grafenraid.
Yeah. Ali Alexander, Secret Service agent.
Was it the ones that quote unquote lost the text messages?
Yeah, it had all that stuff deleted just from the day of the actual insurrection. Yeah, they got rid of all that.
It's just a coincidence.
Oh man, I remember Rusty Bowers,
Brad Raffensperger.
Yep. Cassidy Hutchinson.
Alyssa Farrah Griffin. Yep.
Chad Wolf.
All of these people testified for the January 6th committee. The January 6th committee took all of these Republicans' testimony. They bundled the whole thing together and posited what their theory was. That Donald Trump contributed mightily and was the main figure that drove the insurrection on January 6th. They sent a criminal referral to the Justice Department, and the Justice Department Special Counsel Jack Smith brought charges through his grand jury. So a grand jury heard the evidence and decided to indict Donald Trump for his activities related to and leading up to January 6th. And these people were the ones that contributed through their testimonies during the January 6th committee, all Republicans. Just like all of those Republican generals, I say Republican generals, they are, by all accounts, conservative individuals, right, in their approach. And all of the other people that we mentioned, they are, all of these people spoke the truth. I remember having Mitch McConnell speaking the truth as soon as January 6th was over.
Yeah.
Lindsey Graham, I'm out.
That's it. I can't take it no more. I'm out. Me more. Pull up the truck.
Get me my mint julep. So all of these guys, they all called a spade when their nerves were still high. But then once they calmed down and they went back and kissed the ring and thought about their political careers, they switched up. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna give you another example of somebody who saw through Trump's smoke screen. His name is J.D. Vance. To him, Trump was America's Hitler.
Yeah, he even said it.
Yeah, it's
he recognized real recognized real.
His own VP candidate. And I'm gonna tell you something else too. Trump's campaign manager.
Oh yeah.
Look up the words he used for Trump. He called Trump a fascist before. He said that J.D. Vance actually said that Trump was a cancer on democracy or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they used words that were just Marco Rubio, all of these guys. They tell you what Trump is, then they come to an agreement with them and decide that their political careers are more important than the United States of America, and then they kowtow behind them and line up. But we know, we see what their true thoughts are about Trump when they were, let's say, trying to protect America in the beginning, before they realized that Trump had the base of the Republican Party behind him. So then they decided to go ahead and bend. That's how the Overton window shifts. That's how we end up with terrible situations, terrible outcomes. And all of these terrible outcomes, you cannot tie to the Democratic Party, fortunately for the Democrats, because we don't have to defend against this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna go through just a couple of more things and then we out. He called the media the enemy of the people. Does that sound a little Hitlerish to you?
Yeah.
He threatened journalists and threatened to shut them down every single time he goes to a rally. He calls them the fake news and the enemy of the people. He praised foreign dictators. He went against his own intelligence service in Helsinki and sided with Putin.
Yeah. I don't see why it would be.
Yes. He cut a record with the January 6th terrorists. And not only did he cut the record with them, he went on bragging on TV about they hit record went #1 on the Billboard charts.
If that ain't crazy.
He suggested shooting the protesters in the legs.
Yeah.
And one of the generals said that. I think it was Mark Milley. Yes. He's anti-NATO. Anti-NATO. Okay. Yeah. Of course, he tried to get Mike Pence to interrupt the peaceful transfer of power in the United States of America. I can go on and on and on, but I don't have a whole lot of time. None of this stuff would be accepted if a Democrat had done it. I just need you to at least admit that, please.
Yes. Please admit it and stop lying to yourself. If you think everything gonna be all right, I guess it'll be all right. I guess it's gonna be all right.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Hey, it's been a real one, people. Y'all know what it do.
KQ all day, every day. We just trying to bring you what we see as warning signs. Hopefully, people will not allow this to continue. They will stand up for what they know to be right.
Yeah. And if you don't start none, it sure won't be none. All right.
Hey!
1, 2, KQ. Can you dig it? And all I wanna do 1, 2 is just listen to you. KQ Politics 72. Can you dig it? 1, 2 KQ. Can you dig it? And all I wanna do 1, 2 you wish just listening to you. KQ Politics 72. Can you dig it? KQ. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Can you dig it?
1, 2 KQ. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Can you dig it? Yeah. Can you dig it?
Deuces, my people, deuces.
You're